Papa Bush 4141 special running on the DM R&R early this morning. The Bush 4141 is a Kato SD70 Ace. The real prototype engine is being prepped to be put on permanent display at the Bush 4141 Memorial in they're at Texas A&M or close to Texas A&M. They're at his presidential museum that has to do with transportation. Union Pacific built this engine around 2005, and shortly after it was presented to or when it was presented to President Bush, President Bush said, "I want to take it for a drive." So he got a short lesson from the UP engineers that was there with the dedication team, and they said, "Okay, Mr. President, it's your engine. You can take it for a drive." And you can find that video on YouTube of him running his own engine. Of course, it was still owned by UP. Not too long after the engine was ran, they had it in storage, from what I hear, for a while. They took it out of storage. I think they ran it for a little bit, then put it back into storage to keep it preserved. And pretty well, if the way my engine looks right here is pretty well the way the real prototype looked, although it may have a little bit of weather, from just everyday running on the rails and stuff like that, dirt, grime, things like that you would normally see on it. And they brought the engine, and there is my UP 1982 right there. It does not have any sound. But my 4141 sounds just like the real engine. That what you're hearing is exactly what you hear from the real one. And give her a horn toot again. The decoder that's in this engine is a lock sound, which has several different functions I won't go into, but it has several different functions. They say you can do brake squeal, and right now I've got it on my NCE power cab at speed step 28, which, I mean, this engine does fine. I don't need to run it any faster than that. I'm going to back her down one notch and let her idle down a little bit. And you can hear her idling back down, just like the real one. But to move on, like I said, this engine was brought out of storage, prepped to where it helped pull the President Bush funeral train. Shortly after the funeral procession and different ones had seen the engine, it really got the interest sparked up again. Of course, Cotto had released this engine around, I think 2008, 2010. I wasn't able to get one. I was able to get my Mopac there again. I was able to get it, but I wasn't able to get the George Bush. Probably the only where you could have found it at that time was eBay or somewhere like that, or at a train show. But Cotto brought them back out. You know, it's not that hard to get the colors. Actually, that might be, the engine here may be updated a little bit, but the colors are sharp and crisp. And it's not overly fancy like some engines are, but to me, you don't need overly fancy or whatever, and a good running engine is just as good. But to move on, they brought the engine out of storage, hooked it up with another engine. A lady engineer was the one that was running the engine. That's right, I said a lady engineer. I think she was in the Marine Corps before she became an engineer with UP, and she's the one that ran that engine from there in I think Houston, or around Houston, Texas, all the way to Texas A&M. She is the one that ran that engine. And after they done the funeral procession, they UP decided, in respect to President Bush, that they was going to run it on the system. So wherever the UP system is, give another horn or two. Wherever the UP system is where they ran the 4141. So you can see it just about anywhere, in just about every state. I don't know if it came through Kansas. I'm assuming it did. I think it did. Matter of fact, yes, it was. It was over in Wichita. So, yes, it was over in Wichita. So it was in Kansas. Get focused back here on the phone, or get back focused on the train. It was ran, well, I said Kansas. It was in Wichita. When UP 4014, which is a steam engine, in 4014 was there in Texas, there in Houston, they ran 4141. You can hear her accelerating up again. When 4141, they ran her down to Houston, put her behind UP 4014, and ran from Houston to there at Texas A&M, and she was sitting with UP 4014, the big boy, right behind Texas A&M Stadium. And they detached or unhooked 4141 from 4014. 4014 rejoined the excursion cars, and the excursion went on to Arkansas, Oklahoma, And then when the excursion got to Kansas City, some of the cars were pulled off of the excursion, were sent up to Iowa. Yes, Iowa. Where they probably done some repairs on the cars or something like that, or whatever needed to be done. And 4014 brought about 8-10 brand new hopper cars as it came through our area. And 4014, like I say, 4014 done that. 4041, President Bush's engine, went back to Arkansas, where the big, there's a big, used to be Mopac engine shop. And at that facility is where they prepared 4041 to, and I'm assuming they'll tow 4041 to the presidential library, and then they'll have tracks set up and everything like that, so they can, assume, put it in the building so it won't be out in the elements. I'm hoping it's not going to be out in the elements. This is too pretty of a train